Hello all and welcome to All Red. Well, this is a very, very special edition of All Red today because I am going to break down every single Liverpool transfer target that there is out in the world right now. I have 45 players lined up to talk about, to rank, and to assess as far as what kind of fit and how likely they are to be signed by Liverpool Football Club. So without further ado, let's get started because we've got a lot to go through. Now, I want to real quick just say thank you to everyone who watches, views the videos, everyone who subscribes. We've got people watching in countries all over the world. So if you're in Japan, thank you. If you're in America, thank you. If you're in Thailand, Sawatika or Sawatikrap. And hey, I appreciate you all. Let's get going. My first player on the board is going to be Kevin Mantilla. This is a Colombian player, 21 years old, young center back who currently plays at Talleres. Hasn't had a lot of top playing time, hasn't had a lot of experience, but is a good ball controller, good defender, but he's not left-footed and, like I said, not very experienced. So he's got some promise. Probably not ready for Liverpool. Could be someone who they purchase and store away for later. By the way, just a quick note. These 45 players I have gathered from threads, from reporters, from rumors. I am sure that there are going to be names on this list and names not on this list that you disagree with. So let's have a civil discussion in the comments and have fun. And we'll talk about it. We'll have a discussion. We'll have a friendly discussion. Okay, are you ready? Let's keep moving. Next up, number 44, Pershers. It's not for sure that Pershers will be signed by Liverpool. He's Dutch. He's a 24-year-old Dutch center back. Currently plays at Torino. Again, not a lot of playing time this past season. Kind of injury prone and not a great passer under pressure. So probably not a good fit for slot. I've heard his name thrown around a little bit, but just probably not quite the quality that Liverpool is looking for. Next on the list, Leroy Sané. Okay, you've probably heard of Leroy Sané, and Leroy Sané is a good player, but I just don't see it happening. I've heard his name thrown around with Liverpool as a potential Mo Salah replacement. I don't like it. He's 28, so yeah, he's kind of in his prime, but he's injury prone. He doesn't track back very well, and for the price tag, I feel like we'd be paying a premium for someone that we might get 2 or 3 decent years out of. So not a big fan of Leroy Sané, and he doesn't fit the Liverpool transfer persona of buying young players. All right, Aiden Zagrova. This guy is Kosovian. He plays for Lee right now. And is a 25-year-old winger. Decent player. Is a good dribbler, good technical skills, good playmaker, and he can shoot from range, but a little inconsistent at 25. I think I'd want to see a little bit more from him as he enters his prime. I just don't see him fitting in, and I think we've got a lot of better options, maybe even in our academy currently. So I don't see that one happening. Next on the list is Facundo Medina. This is an Argentinian center back who plays for RC Lens right now. 28 million pounds estimated. He's a really good defender. He just, I don't know. I think the bottom line here is he's just not quite good enough. He's a really good passer, but not a great defender. So I don't think that's what we're going to need. He gets dribbled past quite a bit. So no thanks. Next on the list, I've heard this guy thrown around with Liverpool for a while now, Levi Colwill, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. First off, I don't think Chelsea would sell to us. And if they did, an English defender coming from a Premier League rival would be ridiculously expensive. He's worth potentially about 50 million pounds. I think Chelsea would jack that price way up, and it wouldn't be worth it at all. He's 21 years old. He's English. He's versatile, strong defender. Obviously has Premier League experience, but I just don't see this happening. I just don't see it happening. And remember, I'm ranking these mostly on potential. Like, do I think Liverpool would actually sign this player? So some of these players you're going to see on this list are really good players. Some of these players on this list are going to be really expensive. And so I'm weighing all these. I have a giant spreadsheet that I'm looking at right now where I weigh, position, nationality, age, cost, value, and strengths and weaknesses. So again, tell me what you think. Put it in the comments. We'll have a civil discussion. I don't think Levi Colwill is coming to Liverpool. All right, 39. We're making our way here. Armel Bella Kotchap. He is a German center back. Currently plays at PSV Eindhoven. Very physical, good tackler. Not quite super strong at positioning for a defender. But, he's a little unproven. He's young, 22 years old, and I could see this maybe happening. But chances are I just don't think he's quite good enough yet for Liverpool. And I think we need a center back who's ready kind of right now to come in. So I don't see that one happening. All right, Mark Gay, number 38. Currently with Crystal Palace. He's English. He's a center back. This is interesting because he's young and he has some really good Premier League experience. But I just don't see this guy getting into Liverpool's first team. I mean, maybe he's like a backup to our backups, but I just don't see him being quite good enough. Now, maybe I'm wrong on this one because this one might split opinions. Mark Gahey, maybe he's ready. But a center back playing for Crystal Palace, I don't know. He had 30 appearances, 1.2 tackles per game, and was dribbled past 0.4 times per game. So that's pretty good. By comparison, Virgil van Dijk in the Premier League this past season was dribbled past 0.1 times per game. So not bad. And he's young. He's English. That actually might be a decent appointment if we're able to pry him from Crystal Palace. A little expensive, but that might be decent. Maybe I'm changing my mind on Mark Gahey. Anyways, we keep moving. Ko Itakura. I've seen this guy's name thrown around. I think, he's Japanese, 27, maybe a little old for our profile. Now, this guy would probably come in. He could play center back or defensive midfielder. I think at the end of the day, again, I don't think he's quite good enough. And here's what I'm looking for. With Arne Slot coming in, I don't think we have the pressure of like, hey, we got to win the Premier League next year. I think we do need to qualify for Champions League, but we don't have this pressure of like, hey, we got to win now. I think Arne Slot has the ability, and Michael Edwards has the ability to bring in players who are a little younger, and give them a year to get up to speed. So I just don't see Ko Itakura at 27 years old coming in and spending $30 million on a player like that. I think there's better players available, even in his age bracket, who could come in and make a difference right away. All right, this guy, Pedro Neto. Listen, I think this guy is a dynamic player. He's got a lot of Premier League experience, and when he plays, he is really good. But that is rare. He doesn't play very often. He's very injury prone. And as much as I would like his skill set in our team, I just don't see it happening because I think he's just too injury prone. So I'm out on Pedro Neto. Could he be kind of an impact sub for Liverpool? Absolutely. But I'm not going to spend £50 million on an impact sub who might get injured at any moment. All right, next up, 35, David Henko. This guy is our first Feyenoord player on the list. 35 million pounds, center back, who's 26 years old. This was kind of Arne Slot's go-to defender. He played 47 games last season in all comps. Actually scored 7 goals as a center back. Very good defender, scrappy, good on the ball, and, can put the ball in the back of the net. But I do have him this far down on the list because, again, I think he's a little old for Liverpool's kind of player transfer profile, and I'm just not sure that he is quite good enough to be a Liverpool center back in the Premier League. It's a very, very important position, and I'm not sure that he'd be quick enough, fast enough for the Premier League. So that's why I've got him at number 35. All right, 34, Mohamed Amoura. This is a 23-year-old Algerian winger. He plays for USG. If you remember seeing him in the Europa League group stage this past season, scored 20 goals, had 5 assists for USG. So he's got some good attacking prowess, but not a lot of experience, obviously, in top leagues playing for top teams. He's also 5'6", which is an inch shorter than Harvey Elliott. I don't really care about height in soccer. I don't think that matters. Probably gives him a lower center of gravity, and he's a little bit quicker than maybe some big defenders he's going up against. But I don't know. I think this guy could come in and be a squad player. Probably not a long-term starter or a replacement for Mo Salah type player character. So that is what I think about that guy. All right, next up, Brajan Gruda. Here we go. German player, 19 years old. Played for Mainz this past season. 28 appearances, 4 goals, 3 assists. He's a versatile guy, versatile player. He's got lots of potential. I think Dortmund are rumored to be after him to replace Sancho. But this could be a dark horse signing and a hidden talent that certainly hasn't shown his full potential yet. So look out for this guy. Brajan Gruda could be a dark horse signing for Liverpool. I think he's maybe a little young, but this could be a signing they sign and maybe stash away for the next year or two in their academy. All right, Jared Bowen. Here we go, Jared Bowen. I've heard his name come up quite a bit in regards to Liverpool. Here's what I think about Jared Bowen. I think he's a great player. He's 27 years old, so he's just now getting into his prime. He scored 19 goals and had 10 assists last season in all comps for West Ham. He's English. It's like all these things sound great, but he's a little inconsistent at the highest levels. He's 27 years old, and I just don't know if that fits in with our timeline and the rest of our squad. He would be one of the older players from this new iteration, this Liverpool 2.0, with guys like McAllister, Szoboszlai, etc. He'd be one of the oldest. So, yes, he could come in. He could make a difference right away. But, again, you've got an English tax. You've got a Premier League tax. West Ham's not going to let Bowen go for cheap. So that £55 million price tag on there is probably a little higher than that with all of those factors in there. So, yes, he'd be a great addition. I just don't see it happening because of the price tag. All right. Fotis Ioannidis. Here we go. Greek. I think is he the first Greek player on the list? This guy is an interesting one. He's a striker out in Greece. He is 24 years old. He scored 22 goals, had 9 assists last season. And, kind of could be a cheap backup striker for Liverpool. He can score. I just don't know if he can score at the highest levels. But could be a cheap kind of like third or fourth option for this Liverpool team. And he's 24, so, he's got a decent amount of headway in front of him. Could be an interesting player to watch. All right, we're getting into the second column now. We're making our way. This is exciting. All right, Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins, again, he is an English player, plays for Aston Villa. I think this guy would be incredibly expensive to try to get away from Aston Villa. He had a great season, scored 19 goals, 13 assists, and I've heard a lot of people say this guy could be our Darwin Núñez replacement. I just think there's a couple issues with that. He's 28 years old, so he's older than Darwin Núñez, and he's going to be ridiculously expensive. I'm not prioritizing a forward this season for Liverpool. I think that's probably like the fourth highest need for this team. I would prioritize defensive mid, center back, and probably a winger ahead of an outright forward. And I just don't see this one happening. I think he's a great player. I just don't see it happening. I'd be really shocked, actually. Probably would put him, if I could go back, I'd probably put him a little bit lower. Maybe I'd switch him and who was I talking about earlier? Was it Gahey? Maybe I'd switch him and Gahey. All right, Quinton Timber. Let's not let the trees fall down on this guy. That was a really bad attempt at a pun. Quinton Timber, will it be hard for him to leave? There's a good pun. Will it be hard for him to leave Feyenoord? This is a center mid. He's Dutch. Obviously played for Arne Slot and had a good season last year. He's 22. He's young. Slot is already familiar with him and really liked him as a player. But here's my issue with Quinton Timber, and I've heard his name a lot come up with Liverpool. Here's my issue with him. I think our center mids, that position is stacked right now. Like, we've got guys like Curtis Jones, who I'm looking at. I'm like, are you going to play? Like, are we selling Curtis Jones? Because, like, where does he fit into this team? We have a surplus of center midfielders. And so Quinton Timber could be, a cheap, young Dutch midfielder that could be pretty good. But I just don't see that as a big priority right now. So, good player. Probably not a priority at the moment. All right, João Palhinha. This guy could have been higher in the list, but I'm going to tell you why he's not. So defensive midfielder for Fulham. He is Portuguese and obviously has a lot of Premier League experience with Fulham. But again, I think age is a key factor here with Palhinha and cost as well, because £50 million probably goes up because he's already in the Premier League. Fulham probably not going to want to let him go for cheap. £50 million isn't very cheap, but that price would probably go up from there. I also feel like he's got some issues. He gets a lot of cards, which, for defensive midfielders, like, okay, but a lot of cards, not super disciplined, and really lacks pace. Like, I feel like he'd be a pretty big liability in our midfield because he's not super quick. So I don't really see this happening, but I have heard his name a lot, which is why he's probably middle of this list. Jonathan Tah. All right, this is the first Leverkusen player on the list. Obviously, Leverkusen players are going to be hot this summer, and Jonathan Tah is a 28-year-old German center back who has done really well for his German team and has done well for Xabi Alonso. He can score. He's a very good leader. He could come in and be ready now for Liverpool, especially if the price is right. Now, if £27 million is accurate, that's probably not a bad price tag for this guy. He's hard to get past. 0.3 dribbles pass per game. That's almost at Virgil van Dijk levels, obviously in a different league, but that's pretty good. This guy is just a physical presence on the back line. So if he was a little bit younger, I'd be like, yeah, this is a great option, but he's 28, so maybe we get 2 or 3 years from him. And again, I don't think we need a lot of ready now players, because Slot's going to take this first year to kind of get bedded in, and so I don't think we need to spend a lot of money on players who are already in their prime or maybe at the tail end of their prime. So, all right. Next on the list, Michael Elise. This is another Crystal Palace player, and he's a winger, an attacking midfielder, French, 22 years old, very creative, good dribbler, good vision. Could kind of be a potential like Mo Salah replacement, although I'm not sure if he's quite good enough to warrant that tag. I'm just not sure that Michael Elise is ready. And he's going to be expensive because, again, he's from a Premier League team. So it's just going to be expensive, and I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. So that's why he's at number 26. Okay, Santiago Jimenez. This one might be a little controversial because I know a lot of players are saying, oh, here we go. This is our Darwin Núñez replacement. If you know me, I don't want a Darwin Núñez replacement because I think Darwin Núñez is going to explode under Arne Slot next year and the years beyond. But Santiago Jimenez is a very popular, very hot because he had a great season. 40 caps, 26 goals, 7 assists for Feyenoord. Was a scoring machine. And he is a really good poacher in the box, kind of a Dirk Kuyt type player, but with a little bit more flair. And he's got a good presence, good physical presence in the middle. Can he do it at the top, though? Can he do that? Can he score 25 goals in a top league, perhaps the top league in the world? I don't know. He's 23, so he's going to keep getting better. But his price tag keeps going up. It keeps going up. And by the way, Darwin Núñez just put 3 past Santiago's country. So just think about that for a little bit. So this guy could be good. But again, I just don't think Liverpool are going to prioritize an out-and-out striker this summer, especially for that price tag. All right. Khéphren Thuram. Here we go. This guy keeps coming back. He plays for Nice. He's French, 23 years old, very tall, 6'4", midfielder, ball carrier, fast, quick, good in the air, and can hit the ball. I think this guy's interesting. I think he could be good. I think he's already a good player, but I don't know if he's good enough for Liverpool. I really don't. And I don't know if he fits what Liverpool need. He's played defensive midfielder, but I don't know. Like, does he want to be a defensive midfielder? I get the sense that he wants to attack more. Like, he wants to move into more of an attacking midfield role. And we need a guy who's like, I'm a defensive midfielder. I'm only going to do that. I'm going to do it very well. I don't need to score. I don't need to attack. I'm just going to defend in the middle of the park. So Khéphren Thuram is interesting. And obviously he's been linked with Liverpool before, but I just, I don't know. I don't know about him. There's something weird going on there with him. And why are no other teams coming after him if people are saying he's so good? All right, Nico Williams. He is a Spanish winger. And he currently plays for Athletic Bilbao, who can really turn out some good talent, by the way. He's got really good agility, can score goals, got a lot of potential. He's 21 years old, and he's expensive. Good young talent, but man, that price tag is high for a young talent who really hasn't proven that he is, maybe worth that much. So could be a decent talent to potentially replace Mo Salah someday. Here's my thing, though, with Spanish players. I feel like they're always gravitating back to Barcelona or Madrid or Atletico. I feel like their heart is always trying to get back there. And I don't know. Obviously, Fernando Torres, we've had some great Spanish players over the years. But it just feels like they're always trying to get out at some point. So that's just my thoughts. I'm not saying that's true for every Spanish player. But okay, let's move on. Francisco Conceição currently plays for Porto. He's a right winger, Portuguese, 37 caps, 7 goals, 5 assists, 21 years old, and Very good skill, good technical skill. He's a little small, not super physical. Like Mo Salah is short, but Mo Salah is built. Like you can tell, like he's not getting pushed off the ball. I don't know how well Conceição would translate into the Premier League, which is a very physical league, much more physical than his current side over there at Porto in the Portuguese league. So I think he's got great talent, and he's young, a lot of potential. Price tag's not too bad, but probably not quite built for the Premier League. He could do that, though. He's got time to bulk up, get to the gym. All right, Victor Gyökeres. I just love saying that name, Gyökeres. That's a great name. That's a really good name. He comes in at number 21, and this guy's going to be expensive. There's no way around it. I think he's a fantastic player. I really hope he doesn't go to one of our top Premier League rivals, especially Arsenal, because I think this guy would actually absolutely transform Arsenal into an even better side in the Premier League because he can finish. Oh, he can finish. Again, really expensive and probably just not quite like the most needed thing right now, striker. He's going to be so expensive, though. He's 26 years old, Swedish. And, who knows? Like, maybe he's not able to do it at the top. He hasn't really played for a top team in a top league. But this dude can score. He can score, man. 44 appearances, 37 goals, 12 assists. That's pretty good. That's very good. I think he can do it. I think he can do it at the top levels. I don't think Liverpool are going to spend on a striker like that. Ryan Altanuri is our next on the board. Now we're getting into the teens here. This is number 20, so we're getting there. We're halfway there almost. Well, no, we're past the halfway mark. Thank goodness. Whew. All right, Ryan Altanuri plays for Wolves. He is a left back. This guy would be probably our Andy Robertson heir apparent, to his position. I think Andy Robertson has a year or two left playing at the top. This guy could come in. He's got really good defensive solidity and a lot of potential. He's still only 23. He's quick. Is a good defender. Premier League experience already. This is interesting. I think the only thing is we'd probably miss a little bit on the attack from his position. Obviously, we've been spoiled with Andy Robertson, but this guy doesn't do a lot of that. He doesn't do a lot from the attacking contribution side. That could change, and maybe a few years under Robertson, Trent, he could pick that up a little bit. But could also be a good Tsimikas type player who is maybe an above average second choice at left back. Not super expensive either, so I could see that maybe happening. All right. Brian Mbeumo. This guy plays at Brentford. The Brentford Bees. He's very expensive, £50 million. Cameroon, 24. He's got a lot of speed, good dribbler, good work rate, and decent showing for Brentford last season. Could come in on the right wing, could play forward. A little inconsistent, but this one, to me, I could see this happening. I think his price tag is a little high for what we would get. Obviously, the Premier League experience is great, but maybe a little high, maybe a little overpriced. Jamal Musiala. I've been hearing this guy's name quite a bit more over the past week, and this guy's an attacking midfielder for Bayern Munich. Very expensive because he's a very good young German talent. 21 years old. He's got amazing potential and a lot of adaptability as an attacking midfielder. I think he'd be great. He's a great player. I don't see us needing that. We've got Szoboszlai, we've got McAllister, we've got Curtis Jones. Could Musiala be better than some of those players? Sure. But we've already got those players, and £95 million is nuts. I don't see it happening. I think he might have overperformed a little bit last year too, but he's so young. Like he could keep building on that and could be a really, really good player in the midfield. Alberto Molero. This is he's an attacking midfielder. He's a winger. He's currently at Las Palmas, Spanish, 20 years old. Pretty decent price tag because of his youth, but he is fast, quick, really good dribbler, good passer, dynamic on the ball. Like, if you go watch this guy's highlight reels, he is ridiculous. He is a ridiculous dribbler. This could be a decent dark horse pick for a guy who is kind of unknown, unproven, but has some really, really good skills on the ball. Buy him for 20 million pounds, stash him away for a year or two, and see what happens. Very interesting name here on Molero. Very dynamic player. So, okay. I know what you're thinking. Florian Wirtz, really? This guy might be the most expensive player, sort of available in the world right now. Obviously played at Leverkusen, had a ridiculous season, and he's a 21-year-old German midfielder. So this guy has bags of potential. Just an excellent player. Was kind of the fulcrum for Leverkusen this season because he played in 49 games for them, 18 goals, 19 assists, and is one of the world's premier young talents. I don't see this happening at all. I have him on the list because he's been linked with Liverpool, maybe in the deepest parts of the internet. I don't know. I can't remember. But everything lines up for this guy except for his price tag. So I don't see it happening on price alone. But, hey, you never know. Hey, if we were willing to shell out 115 million pounds for Caicedo last summer, which I still don't know if we were actually going to do that. But if we were, why not go get Florian Wirtz? Why not go get one of the best young players in the world? I don't see it happening. All right, we're in the final column here. And who better to kick off the final column than Orkun Kokcu, the Benfica midfielder. This guy used to play under Arne Slot at Feyenoord when they won the Eredivisie 2 years ago, and loves Arne Slot, and I think Arne Slot loves him. He's 25 million pounds, not bad. He's Turkish, actually born in the Netherlands, and he's 21 years old. No, he's 23 years old. Good long-range shooter, good tackler, passing, set pieces, not super defensive in the midfield. So, again, I don't know if Liverpool really need a player with his skill sets, but the price tag, the connection to Slot, it's interesting. I don't think it would take much to get him in. All right, let's move on. Castello Luqueba. This guy is a French center back. He plays for RB Leipzig, who I think are, they are really good at churning out talent. Here's the really interesting part about Luqueba. He has the same dribble pass rate as Virgil van Dijk playing for Leipzig. 0.1 dribble pass per game. He is a really good defender, good tackler, and he's a good passer. I think the only thing that's missing here is playing at the top level, which you don't need that to be a good player. I think this guy could be a really, really good player for Liverpool. It's just hard to get past him if you're an attacker. So another dark horse pick here for Liverpool. Probably not the sexiest name, but a name that we should be considering nonetheless for his price tag, for his age, for his abilities. Yeah, let's look at him. That's an interesting one. I don't know why he's not higher up on my list. Okay. Lucero Gertrina. I think I misspelled his name there, but whatevs. This is maybe one of Slot's favorite players from Feyenoord. He can play really anything that has the word defense in it. So right back, center back, he even plays defensive mid at times. Played 47 games last season for Feyenoord. Scored 9 goals, 5 assists. Dutch, 30 million pounds, and he's 23 years old. So really interesting guy, really interesting player to kind of keep your eye on. I've probably seen his name the most. Yeah, maybe. He's up there because of his connection to slot, and he's a very versatile player. I wouldn't be upset if we brought him in for 30 million pounds. I think he could be a great squad player. I don't see him being a world-beating midfielder for us or defender, but a great guy that you can play anywhere, kind of like a Joe Gomez with maybe a little bit more ability to play that midfield role if need be. So interesting. Gertrude. Okay, we're getting into the top 12, and it's Piero Hincapié, Leverkusen player once again, 35 million pound Ecuadorian left back and left center back, which is what Liverpool need. Again, here's an interesting stat. 0.2 dribble passed in the Bundesliga. That is very, very good. He's versatile, confident, good passer, good defender. I think the only thing here is it going to be hard to get this guy away from Leverkusen? Could Michael Edwards crack the outer walls of Leverkusen and pry away one of their key players and one of their best young players as a great long-term replacement for anyone on that left side of the defense? So one to watch there for sure. All right, number 11. It's Ederson. No, not the Man City keeper. It's Ederson, the defensive midfielder for Atalanta. His name is rising in popularity after Atalanta won the Europa League, and Liverpool are apparently keeping their eye on him. This is a great defensive midfielder, had a great year with Atalanta. He's Brazilian, 24, so profile is there for Liverpool. He's a good tackler, good passer, high work rate, and good passer into the final third, which is what Arne Slot would want from his defensive midfielder. A little bit smaller, not super physically dominant, and he's not super fast, which gives me a little concern coming into the Premier League. But obviously he performed well against Liverpool. He performed well against Leverkusen, some of the top, hottest teams, at least Liverpool were when they came into that two-game series against them, two-match series, and obviously came up against Leverkusen and ruined their perfect season. So he's a hot topic. Might have some weaknesses, like over the course of a full season in the Premier League. Can he keep up? I'm not sure, but I'd be okay with this. I think this would be a solid defensive midfield option for Liverpool, and the price tag's not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, are you guys ready? We're finally into the top 10. Let's start it off with one of the hottest names in Europe. It's Leny Yoro from Lille, and this guy is an 18-year-old center back from France. He is maybe one of the hottest names in the transfer market because of his age and because of his experience already. He played 33 games as an 18-year-old for Lille, and he even scored 2 goals in there. Great defensive potential, good tackler, great ball skills, and is just, at 18 years old, has massive amounts of potential. This guy would be an interesting signing. Would he come in and start right away? Probably not for Liverpool, but he would see a lot of game time because he's just got so much experience already at a young age. And he's the type of center back Slot would want. So could be a great player and one for the future, obviously, for at least a decade, maybe a decade and a half, which is crazy. And he could already come in and play significant minutes. So Leny Yoro is number 10. Number 9, Crescencio Somerville. By the way, Leny Yoro is not higher because I think there's going to be a lot of clubs vying for his signature this summer if he moves on. All right, Crescencio Somerville, Leeds United player, right winger, left winger, and played in the championship last season. He scored 20 goals, had 9 assists there, and he's a Dutch winger. So 35 million pounds, not bad for a 22-year-old with decent amount of experience. He does have a little bit of Premier League experience under his belt, but Obviously, the big question is, can he do that in the Premier League? He did it in the Championship, but can he do it in the Premier League? I don't know. Who knows? I think he probably can. Maybe not at that same level, but he's still young and still knows the pace of the English game. So I've got him in my top 10 because I think he could be a really good player. And I could see him, in a year or two being a stalwart on our front line. I think he's got that dynamic ability about him. So, all right. Number 8, Gonzalo Inacio. This probably is the name that I've heard the most linked with Liverpool. And I've heard recently that he's not going to sign. I've heard recently that they're starting to talk to him. There's negotiations. Who knows? Nobody knows except for Michael Edwards and his team. So I'm not going to pretend to know anything. But this guy is a really good defender. He's Portuguese, 22 years old, plays for Sporting CP right now. He's left-footed, which is what Liverpool need. And I think there's maybe one hesitation with him, and that is I don't know yet if he would be a guy who could defend in the Premier League. He gets dribbled past on a 0.5 per game tick, which is not great, especially for Sporting in the Portuguese league. But so he doesn't have that top experience yet. But is just a really good player, dynamic player, could come in and be that guy, that center back guy in the middle of our defense for the next 10 years. And Portuguese players tend to come into the Premier League and do really well. So, okay, it's Mats Wiefer. This guy played for Feyenoord last season. He is a defensive midfielder. That's his position. And he played in 41 games for Feyenoord, 6 goals, 4 assists. He's Dutch, 24 years old, good passer, good ball control. He can high press like the best of them, and he can put long balls up into the attacking third. Wiefer could be the missing piece, right? He could be that missing piece in our midfield. He's tall, lengthy, tough to get around, and he's got a decent presence as a defensive midfielder. I get the sense that he would be pretty durable in the Premier League. And our defensive midfield position is maybe our biggest need this coming season. So Wiefer, obviously, he fits in with Slot's game plan, his system, because he played under him at Feyenoord. The big question mark is he good enough for Liverpool? Is Mats Wiefer good enough to be Liverpool's starting defensive midfielder? I think so, but I don't know. So I'd rather have this guy, Toon Koopmeiners, the Atalanta center midfielder, defensive midfielder, obviously had a really good season. This guy played 50 games for Atalanta this past season, 15 goals, 7 assists. He's Dutch. He's right at the tail end of that age spectrum. He's 26, so he would fit in with, guys like, he's just a little bit younger than Jota, but probably would come in and be maybe one of the leaders in the teams. I don't know. Good presser, very good high presser, good at ball progression, very adaptable, can play in various positions, and super intelligent tactically. This guy would come in and make a difference right away. I have concerns over his price tag because after Atalanta won the Europa League, I think everybody was like, oh, these guys are actually pretty good. And I think some price tags rose up at that point and are continuing to rise. Could this guy be the perfect fit along like a McAllister in our midfield? Possibly. I think he's strong enough. I think he's very strong. And I'd be really excited if Liverpool somehow managed to sign this guy. Okay. Top 5. Whew. Let's take a deep breath. I need to take a drink of water. Top 5. Here we go. It's Mohamed Kudus. You knew he was going to come up. The Ghanaian winger for West Ham is a very dynamic player. This guy is probably going to command a pretty decent price tag. I got 65 million. I think it could go up from there. Versatile, obviously has great Premier League experience, creative, goal-scoring ability. I think the only question mark with him is he going to be durable? He's had some injuries, 56 matches missed in the past 4 years, and he's still only 23. So I'm like, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot, and for a high price tag, I think I've got another player coming up here on this list that I would rather have, who I think is more promising and doesn't have as high of a price tag. So, Alan Varela. This guy is my highest rated defensive midfielder on the list. So, spoiler alert, there's no more defensive midfielders in the top 3. But Alan Varela, let me make the case for Alan Varela. Plays for Porto, 38 appearances, 2 goals, 3 assists. He's Argentinian, and he's 22 years old. Very good defender, defensive prowess, good ball control, passing, strength, thrives in possession-heavy teams. Okay, that's exactly what Arne Slot wants to come in and make Liverpool. They already were, but Arne Slot wants to do more of that. And he's very good tactically, very smart player. This guy could pair well with Alexis McAllister. Don't sleep on the Argentine connection. That makes a difference. There's language. They play together, on the international stage. I think that's worth considering. This guy could be really good. I think he's got a lot of promise, and the price tag's not too bad. So it'd be really cool to see them get this guy. Obviously, I don't know if he can play at the top level in the Premier League, but I think he can. And I think he'd be a really good, intriguing signing for £30 million. Top 3, here we go. Here we go. The only goalkeeper on the list, Justin Bijlow. I think this guy just makes a lot of sense, okay? He's the Feyenoord goalkeeper, and, he's not Alisson. He's probably not even Kelleher, but I think they're going to sign this guy. He had 9 clean sheets for Feyenoord, probably only about £10 million, and he can come in. He's 26 years old. I think he could be our number 2, definitely our number 3 if we need one, and, he's good. He's got good reflexes, good ball handling, a little weak in the air, which is probably not great for the Premier League, but I can see this happening because I think Kelleher's probably leaving. I think Adrian, I know they want him to extend and stay. I don't know if he wants to, though. So I know, not the most exciting guy on the list. But again, this is about potential signings. So Justin Bijlow, I think he's, if I had to put money on somebody, I'd probably put it on him to be signed. All right. This is my guy right here. This is probably like the most, I'm probably the most excited about this guy. And I have no idea if they're going to sign him. But Johan Bakayoko, I think, would be really good. Okay? This guy could be the Mo Salah heir to his position for Liverpool. He's 21 years old. He's Belgian. Plays for PSV right now. He had 39 appearances, so he's durable. 12 goals, 9 assists. He is explosive, okay? He is a good dribbler, and he can score goals from the wings. This guy would be awesome. I'd be so excited if we got Bakayoko. I think for the price, which is still decent, 50 million around there, decent, but man, I think this guy could really do it. I think he could be it. I would love it. I'd be super, super duper stoked about this dude. All right, you guys ready? You want to see my number 1? It's probably not surprising if you followed Liverpool transfers because you've probably heard of William Pacho, the Ecuadorian center back who has been turning heads because he's one of the most promising defenders in Europe. Plays in Germany, Eintracht Frankfurt, and probably our top prospect on the list. Not a ton I need to say about this guy. But he's just a really good defender. He's good on the ball, got a lot of physical presence, and I think he could be a really, really good player for Liverpool for the next decade. So, all right. Whew. Oh, I gotta take a little deep breath. How do we do? Now it's time for you to jump in the comments and rip me to shreds or tell me what I did wrong. So I'd love to kind of refine this list and keep this going. So I'd love your comments. I'd love your thoughts and feedback. And time will only tell, right? I do not have any insight into what Michael Edwards is thinking, what his team is working on. But if I can get like 2 or 3 of the names off this list signed, I'd be pretty happy with that level of research. So, all right, I'm going to leave it at that because this video is really long, and I will just leave you with a little Up the Reds. Thanks for watching this all red clip. If you liked the video, click the like button and comment below. Let me know something about whatever it is you want to say. And of course, consider joining the All Red community by subscribing to this channel. It's fast, it's easy, it's free, and it's all red. And you're welcome to stay here and keep watching this video as long as you like. But I actually need to go. So thank you. I'll see you later.